Could this be a push? Could this be a final push for a sign of things to come? Lynne Roberts, head coach, LA Sparks, planting seeds in the ground for Caitlin Clark to blossom and eventually put on a LA Sparks uniform. The talks were once hot.
The Los Angeles Sparks, a franchise that many people had dismissed as irrelevant over the past few years, are now making a determined and aggressive effort to lure Caitlin Clark away from the Indiana Fever. The driving force behind that effort is Lynne Roberts, the newly appointed Sparks head coach, who spent the last 9 years building Utah into a powerhouse before deciding it was time to take on the challenge of coaching in the professional ranks.
Caitlin Clark traded to LA. A nightmare situation for Indiana. Is this actually happening? Looking at the YouTube WNBA influencers, they are convinced that Caitlin Clark will be traded to the LA Sparks. The thought process here is that Adam Silva doesn't like what's going on in Indiana. Caitlin Clark is too big of a ticket for Indiana, a small market. So they're going to move Clark out of there, move her to LA, and get a bigger, better TV contract next year. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
This is not just a rumor. This is not some fan theory dreamed up in a late-night Reddit discussion. This is a legitimate story involving real people and real conversations. And the reason it continues to gain momentum is that if you've been paying attention to what Caitlin Clark has endured in the WNBA this season, the possibility of her leaving for Los Angeles no longer feels like a far-fetched fantasy. It is beginning to look like the most logical ending to a situation that keeps growing worse.
Word on the street is Caitlin Clark is going to be traded soon. And if you follow the rabbit hole, it all sounds real. It all sounds on purpose. And it all makes sense. Caitlin Clark to LA Sparks.
So, let's break everything down. Let's examine what the Sparks are trying to accomplish. Let's look at how Stephanie White's coaching decisions appear from the outside. Let's discuss what this league has allowed to happen to its biggest star, game after game. And let's explore why, for the first time, many people are genuinely questioning whether Indiana has done enough to deserve keeping Caitlin Clark.
If Caitlin goes to LA, what do you guys think? I mean, she'd be back with what? Cameron Brink? Kelsey Plum is over there. Kate Martin is there right now. They have some good players. I just don't know if Caitlin Clark is an LA girl. I mean, she's definitely a Midwest, person. Will she fit in LA? I mean, with Cam and that team, I don't know. Maybe the spotlight will.
Lynne Roberts is far from a first-year coach who simply landed a high-profile job in a major market. She spent 9 seasons at Utah, transforming the program into a consistent NCAA tournament contender and earning a reputation as one of the most respected program builders in women's basketball. The Sparks brought her in to accomplish something many people had stopped expecting from the franchise: to compete. And she has made it clear she is not interested in taking a slow approach. Since arriving in Los Angeles, Roberts has been aggressive in every aspect. She signed Kate Martin, who developed real chemistry with Clark during their time at Iowa, converting Martin's training camp contract into a standard WNBA contract in early July. She also added Kiana Williams. Roberts has been open about her ambitions, making it clear that the Sparks are building towards something meaningful. She is searching for more than just a talented player. She wants a true superstar, someone capable of transforming the financial future of an entire franchise overnight. And as the head coach of the Los Angeles Sparks, when she looks at Caitlin Clark's current situation, she sees a rare opportunity that doesn't come around very often.
Well, man, if you haven't heard, Kate Money Martin, man, just got signed to a standard contract with the LA Sparks, man. And this was much deserved and needed because the WNBA needs Kate Martin on a team. And they had to make room to do this, so thank you to Nia Latson. But we talking about Kate Martin. We already know from Iowa with the face of the league, the baby goat, Caitlin Clark. Also, one of.
Here's what makes this effort more than simple wishful thinking. The Sparks didn't bring in Kate Martin by coincidence. Martin was Clark's teammate at Iowa. She experienced every step of that unforgettable run alongside her. She's someone Clark already trusts. Someone who understands Clark's style of play before they even step onto the practice court together. You don't sign Kate Martin in the middle of a WNBA season and then pretend you're not paying close attention to Clark's situation. That move sends a clear organizational message. You're building a roster that Clark could join and instantly feel comfortable with. You're eliminating obstacles. You're putting the right pieces in place long before any serious negotiations begin. Roberts hasn't stepped up to a microphone and declared, "We're coming after Caitlin Clark." That's simply not how these situations unfold. But the organization's actions are telling a story that the words haven't revealed yet. And anyone paying close attention to the Sparks can already see exactly what they're trying to build.
I'm pissed. After tonight's game, I'm pissed. And I'm clearly not alone in my sentiments, but the league has a serious officiating issue. And the fact that the way that they treat their generational talent is truly disgusting. The calls tonight were insane. Or the no calls tonight were insane.
Before you can understand why the Sparks are so determined to pursue her, you first have to look at what Caitlin Clark is accomplishing in 2026. She is averaging a career-best 21.2 points per game through 17 games this season. She has earned another All-Star selection, making it 3 in her first 3 seasons. The Fever entered this stretch with an 11-8 record. At only 24 years old, in just her 3rd professional season, she's playing at a level that places her in a conversation that only a handful of guards in the history of women's basketball have ever reached. She has become the most-watched player in the history of women's professional basketball. The Fever-Liberty matchup on June 6th averaged 2.557 million viewers on CBS, making it the most-watched WNBA game on any network this season and the 2nd most-watched women's basketball game on any network since 2000. Now let's go back to the Portland Fire game on May 31st. Stephanie White took Clark out during the first quarter, and the Fever eventually fell 100-84. It ended as a 16-point defeat. Then, during a second quarter timeout, television cameras captured what appeared to be a tense exchange between Clark and White. Clark was visibly frustrated. White was firmly making her point, and the clip spread quickly because viewers across the country witnessed a head coach and her franchise star seemingly out of sync. When reporters later questioned White about the early substitution, her explanation didn't completely satisfy many observers. She pointed to Boston's minutes restriction and said Clark's exit had been planned. But taking your best player and most dangerous offensive weapon off the floor in the first quarter of a game that eventually became a 16-point loss is the kind of decision that requires a much clearer explanation. Afterward, both Clark and White insisted there was no conflict. They described it as competitive and simply part of coaching. But here's the reality. When you and your coach are seen having a heated discussion on national television during a timeout, saying there was no issue doesn't erase what everyone watched. Clark continues to deliver, averaging over 21 points per game, filling arenas, and driving record television ratings. She came to win, and the Sparks clearly recognize her value. If Indiana and the WNBA fail to create the environment she deserves, they shouldn't be surprised if another franchise is ready to make her its top priority.